From the top of Roca Corba, welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, cycling trends we hate and some we'd actually quite like to come back.
We've also got a new sock saga, some cycling science on Everesting and sprinting, and the end of the dry cold versus wet cold debate. This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that the wait for a cargo bike / camper van is nearly over.
Yes!
Space Camper are launching this, a cargo bike that becomes a chair and even a bed.
Well, don't all rush at once. Crikey. Anyway, we also learned that fresh off the back of a brief and less than moderately successful track season, Alex Payton has resumed his hotly anticipated road season at the legendary Perth's pedal race. It's like the precursor to Omni Pet Newsblad in a few weeks, isn't it?
It's the opening weekend before the opening weekend,
That's
isn't it?
right.
And it's a race so tough, even I couldn't win it, Si.
No, one of the few. Anyway, here is Alex on lap one. Well positioned, I think you could say, Dan, looking really pro,
Very
isn't
pro,
it?
yes.
Yeah.
And then, well, we're not sure what's happening just here, are we?
No. I mean, I think that is the finish.
Looks like it,
isn't it? I mean, it is difficult to sprint in those conditions, isn't it? And hell, he was still looking super
Very
pro.
pro, yes. Yeah. That's 9/10 of the battle, isn't it, looking pro, Si? Well done to Alex.
Absolutely. Now, hopefully by now you've seen the video we released at the weekend about the little-known Giant MCR, a carbon bike straight out of the wild 90s.
Wild for cycling, we should stress.
Yes,
so
yeah.
mild by most other benchmarks, really.
True, yeah. Now, the conclusions of that video was that we feel it's high time to bring back outrageous-looking bikes that stick 2 fingers up at the rules.
A trend we want to return.
Yeah.
Bikes like the Lotus or the Pinarello Sword or Roubaix bikes with RockShox suspension. They got the interest of the wider general public, didn't they? They might not all have been design successes, but they look so space-age, especially back then, didn't they? Yeah. Anyway, it got us thinking, are there any other trends that we'd like to see make a return? And which trends are we very glad to see the back of?
Tom last.
Was he a trend?
No, but we'd like to see him back. We'd like to see him back, not
yes.
that we'd like to see the back off, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, well, beyond Tom last, I will go first.
Go on then.
Innocence.
What?
The age of innocence.
Well, that's not a trend either.
Well, let me explain. So
Please do.
basically what I mean is that cycling entered the age of enlightenment in around about 2006, I reckon, when the importance of aerodynamics in road racing really started to become apparent. And from there, our knowledge of everything from lubrication losses to rolling resistance to lactate testing means that we all know categorically what the fastest and best ways of cycling are. And unfortunately, it means it's got really, really expensive.
That is true, actually. You turn up at a 4th cat race without aero socks, and you're better not even worth starting, are you, really? I mean, I am joking, because of course, Alex and Mark from GTN and I raced on £500 bikes last year, and loved it, but I do get your point. I think that carbon fibre should be banned from all junior races.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But can we otherwise agree to keep modern bike trends?
What? Disc brakes, wide tyres, smaller gears, gravel bikes?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, the only trend about modern tech I'd like to see consigned to the history books is the moaning about modern tech. Actually, no, that's not quite true. I would like things to be cheaper again.
I think everybody would do, wouldn't they? That would probably stop the moaning as well, I think.
Yes,
were
it probably
cheaper,
would,
wouldn't
yeah.
it? Now, one trend I would like to see make a comeback is slightly shorter shorts and shorter sleeves on cycling jerseys.
Sean Yates style, to make your legs
No,
look bigger.
definitely not. His shorts looked absolutely ridiculous, didn't they? But the reason that I would like to see slightly shorter shorts make a comeback is because of the absolutely hideous modern tan lines that you see on pro cyclists.
Cyclist tan lines have always looked bad.
Well, they have, but only if you happen to be at a swimming pool, only in your swimming shorts. But at least back then, if you were wearing normal length casual shorts and a t-shirt, your tan lines were pretty much covered up, weren't they? Now though, because cycling jersey sleeves are down to the elbow, shorts are down to the knees and socks almost up to the knees, unless you're wrapped up in a jumper and jeans, you're going to look utterly ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I agree actually. And although, at least with this modern fashion amongst pros of not wearing gloves, there is at least no tan line at your wrist anymore.
Yeah, a minor win, if you don't crash on your hands.
Yeah. Now, a trend that I miss, but it's probably for the best that it's gone, the early days of Rafa, that kind of gritty monochrome look. At the time, it was so good for cycling. You've got to say, it made our sport look cool and it tapped into a whole new audience for cycling. So it was great.
But
I think there's only so many people for whom glory through suffering is an appealing motto.
no, I'd agree. I mean, it is odd when you think back about it now, isn't it? Not many other sports really market themselves on being unpleasant to take part in, do they?
UFC, maybe?
Not really a mass participation sport, is it?
No,
UFC?
okay, fair enough.
You know what I'd like to see make a comeback though, Si?
Yeah.
Short rides. All the cool bike rides these days are really long, aren't they? What was your longest last year, by the way?
350k off-road, I think.
That's pretty rubbish, isn't it? Year before?
640k
That's
off-road.
just that's more like it, I would
Yeah.
say, Si. But really, if it's not four figures, it's not worth it. But when did that start? For the first 7 years of GCN, we didn't need to ride more than 100 kilometres. That might have been my influence. But
I mean, that's a good point. I think we should probably blame Mark Beaumont, really, shouldn't we?
Probably,
He's
yes.
even written a book on the subject.
which is available now, isn't it? At shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should glorify those of us who ride for just 90 minutes to 2 hours and then stop at a cafe, because that is what cycling is all about.
I mean, it kind of is, isn't it? But anyway, let us know what you lot think. Are there any trends that have gone that you'd like to see come back? And are there any that need to just frankly go? Go.
Let us know in the comments below. Now, ever on trend, Conor is currently bike packing with Marcel Kittel.
That's a bromance we need to see more of, isn't it?
Hello everyone from the Philippines. We're having a bit of a sufferfest. So I'm joined by Marcel Kittel. We're riding across Luzon Island, which is the largest island in the Philippines, going from the east to the west coast. It's proving quite a challenge, isn't it?
It is still a challenge, but also quite an experience.
Yeah, that is true. So we're currently trying to ride up the highest point in the highway system in the whole of the Philippines.
Yeah, why not? I mean, well, that's what you do on a Sunday.
So we've just got over 2,000 metres altitude, and I mean the scenery is just mental. We're up in the rice terraces, up in the peaks. The air's a bit clearer, a bit cooler. We've been blown away by the views,
Yeah.
but our legs are also blown as well. We've had to split the climb into 2 days, so we stayed the night in the town halfway up. And now we're mounting our attempt on the summit. But you can check out the film, which will be available to watch soon on GCN Plus. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
Hack/Bodge of the week. First up, Chris Lair. My Wahoo mount doubles as a fan remote holder indoors. No more explanation needed or indeed given.
No, I mean, it literally does, doesn't it? With an elastic band.
Is that better than a zip tie?
Yes, it is actually.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, you're not going to cut yourself on an elastic band, are you?
No.
And it's eminently reusable, so that's good. So yeah, no, I think. But I don't really know what to think. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So should we say that's a
It
hack?
just, well, I'm slightly reluctant. I mean, it just doesn't feel like quite enough effort to warrant a hack, but I guess, yeah, serves a purpose, doesn't it?
You know
I'm not
what?
bowled over with excitement, let's put it that way.
So with a nice pair of aero handlebars like that, and then your Wahoo sat on the front, that's where I put my phone when I'm indoor training.
Where?
On that like little interface handlebar
Yeah, I
to
do as
Wahoo.
well.
And it also means that you
It's
can't
quite
get
precarious though with a
yeah,
smartphone,
but
isn't
it's
it?
good though because you kind of like if you get too into your intervals, your phone will fall off. So you need to keep your body really smooth. If you get too aggro,
Yeah.
that's it. So
During the GCN Zwift competition that you had, did you have your phone rested on there? Is that why you didn't get through to the next part?
still a
Didn't want
sore
to dislodge
point,
your
Dan.
phone.
Still a sore point.
Well, I will go reluctantly with hack.
Yeah, I would say hack.
69% of people went with hack for that one.
Yeah, fancy bar tape as well. My word, red leatherette. Don't know where you
Crikey.
find that, but right then, JNAF09, the $1.25 pool noodle rocker. Pretty proud of my pool noodle rocker. Had 96 people on the Zwift Reddit group suggest I submit this here for hack or bodge. So thank you to the 96 of you that suggested it, and thank you to JNAF09. I mean, that is quite cool, isn't it?
I mean, I love how cheap it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued to know what it would feel like.
I feel like the bits on the trainer look a little bit better than the one on the front wheel.
Yeah. I don't know though. I mean, is it comfy? Is it realistic, or is it just a little bit?
I don't know. Might keep
squishy.
Might give a bit more stabilisation for resting your phone on the Wahoo mount at the front of your bike.
True.
Potentially.
For $1.25, it's the kind of hack that we could probably try.
Yes, I can get behind that.
Yeah,
I can get behind that. So I'll give it a hack.
I'll give it a hack as well. Yeah.
64% went with hack for that one. App Wallison 1, or AP Wallison 1, 3D printed rocker feet.
Oh, now we're talking.
Here. 3D printed rocker feet for my Wahoo Kicker core, surprisingly stable. Easier to clean around the trainer after a workout, just needed to raise the front wheel to level the bike and practice getting on and off a higher bike.
The one thing about that caption that just jumps out at me is it surprisingly stable for a rocker system. Surely that you want a kind of flexible rocker. Otherwise, you've literally just made your bike higher for no reason. I mean,
they're tennis balls, aren't they?
I don't know. Are they?
I think so. I think they've got tennis balls. So, but yeah, like you said, I don't know why you'd want it particularly stable when the whole concept of the rocker is that gives you a bit of leeway either side. But anyway, I am definitely saying hack for that.
Oh, I am too. 3D printed, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And unsurprisingly, the majority of you went with hack for that as well.
Whoa.
90%.
Okay, here we go. This one from O Cernotic. Oven mitts for toasty hands. Spotted on my commute today. I'm on the fence. No doubt they keep you warm, but I'm not sure how well you can brake or change gears with them. They look like something Alex Steele might use.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
It looks like they're on the fence as well. You know what? Like, that's probably about as warm as it gets in terms of handwear, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, in terms, again, of trying to ride a bike comfortably in cold weather on a budget, that's probably not a bad idea, is it? I mean, at least it's not a pair of oven gloves that are attached together in the middle. That might not be quite so good for cycling. So I'm actually going to go, believe it or not, with hack for that.
Yeah, I am too.
Are you?
I'm slightly annoyed that they're not matching.
And that they're massively different in size.
Yes, that's also weird. But actually, when you think about it, those things that Alex Steele had, I think they're pogies, aren't they? That's what it's called. Yeah. You could totally turn an oven mitt into a pogie.
Oh, you could do, yeah.
All you got to do is put a slit in the side, slip it on to the end of your bars, mountain bike handlebars this is, and away you go. You've got your very own pogie for however much an oven mitt costs.
Yeah. Well, there's an idea for somebody to carry out at home and then submit to hack or bodge on the GCN app. A reminder that you can get involved by uploading your hacks and bodges to the GCN app. Next week's are there for you to vote on already, but we will be looking, of course, at new submissions for 2 weeks' time.
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we're going to start with news of cycling socks.
This is yet another saga in a long-running debate which had actually passed us by until we read this article over on the GCN app.
That's right, so it turns out that Team EF have non-matching socks, the orientation of which has sparked a controversy, a Twitter account called EF Sock Check, and a hashtag left, light, right, bright.
It's a catchy hashtag, that one, isn't it?
Just, yeah.
Except that according to Nielsen Powless, their aero socks have labels on which are the other way around.
Yeah, which is correct. Well, according to the designer, they've said, the design journey doesn't stop once the kit has been produced. We want riders to interpret the kit in their own way and bring a little personal style to the bike. We want to give people the chance to express themselves in how they dressed, all through a pair of socks.
They're sponsored by Rafa, aren't
they? They are sponsored by Rafa, yeah. Funny that. Next up, one of the most, at least they're pink and not black and white, yeah. And next up, one of the most famous climbs in cycling, the incredible Sacalobra in Mallorca, has just had to be closed, unfortunately, due to a landslide.
Yeah, this is another article that we saw on the GCN app from Olive Press News. The photo is mildly terrifying, given how precipitous the road is. You don't really want to see bits of it falling away, do you?
No, you really don't. No one was hurt, I don't think. But anyway, Tom Pidcock will be breathing a sigh of relief, won't he? Because his recent Strava record up the climb is going to be safe for a little bit longer. I think Ollie Bridgewood had his sights on it.
Sure, Pidcock was quaking in his boots that his time, 2 minutes quicker than anybody else, would shortly be beaten.
Right, now time for some science,
Brilliant.
Dan. Firstly, an article published in Nature.
Wow, bring out the big gun, Si. One of my all-time favourites, that one.
Oh yes. Anyway, this is a statistical analysis of Everesting.
Right.
Oh yeah, geektastic this one. So having statistically analysed all successful Everestings recorded on the Everesting website, they have concluded that fitter cyclists will do faster times on steeper climbs, so you should aim for steeper than 12%, but less fit cyclists would be better off on a climb of about 8 to 10%.
And for someone like me, it'd be 0%. Anyway, there was also no statistical link between length of climb and total time. Shorter climbs mean more frequent recovery, but more time spent turning in the road, which kind of offsets it.
Yeah, okay, right, got some more science now as well. This one is all about teleo-anticipation in short duration cycling.
What on earth is that?
I really don't know, Dan, but Wittkind et al. Showed that people automatically pace themselves on any sprint effort over 15 seconds.
I feel like we instinctively might have already known that though.
I feel like that as well, but now, Dan, it's been scientifically proven.
Very good. I'm glad it's all been cleared up. Now, some news that came out just too late for the GCN show last week is that Wahoo have released a new device to enable you to steer in-game in their RGT virtual cycling platform.
Yeah, here you go. Fresh out of the box. So fresh, look, that it's still got the plastic on it. But basically, so this clips on the front of your bike, like where your GPS map would normally go. And then there's a tray here where your phone would live. And then basically you've got, it pivots like this, and you've got two levers, which means that you can tilt it as you're riding, thereby activating a steer in-game.
Super simple idea by the sounds of it, isn't it? But so many good ideas are very simple like that, aren't they?
Indeed, yes. Now, next, after Alex Steeder's most excellent contribution to last week's show, where he bared all, almost literally,
Almost
didn't
literally,
he,
yeah.
to show how to tackle extreme cold, the debate about which is worse, -20 and dry, or +2 degrees and wet, rumbles on.
I think he basically just made it look too nice over there, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think he did actually. Now, I had a message from a guy called Chris. I was about to say a guy called Twitter. No, a guy called Chris on Twitter. I think he'd been reading Sir Ranulph Fiennes' autobiography.
As you do.
Yeah, Fiennes, the great polar explorer, if you don't know. And the book says, and he screenshotted a section, she went on, I think he's referring to his wife, to confirm my own memory of our shared Antarctic winter. It was one of the happiest winters of my life. A crisp, dry cold, not like the miserable damp that we get here.
Yes.
There you
Sir
go.
Ranulph Fiennes, who had to saw off some of his own fingers in his shed due to frostbite sustained in dry cold, presumably?
That very man, yeah. And we should point out as well that he actually lives in Bath, doesn't he? Like a stone's throw from GCN HQ. So the very cold he is referencing there
From here,
is
isn't
the
it?
very cold that we experience for several months of the year. And fancy that, he'd still rather damp cold and he'd still rather dry cold and sacrifice some of his fingers than put up with damp cold.
Yeah, it is really bad over there.
Yeah, and some Canadians have even been turning on poor Alex as well, haven't
Have they?
Yeah, P Woods 00 commented to say that as a Canadian, I have to say I'm incredibly offended that Edmontonian wasn't just wearing shorts and a hoodie.
Yes, explain yourself, please, Alex. Also, this comment from Gribbo9999 was fantastic. He had his prostate removed just a week ago and said hearing from Alex has given him a much needed boost. And yes, get tested.
That's
everybody.
right, get said, well, everybody, men.
Well, that's, yes, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, now we'll finish cycling shorts with a big GCN giveaway, okay? Top prize is an all-inclusive trip for two to the Global Bike Festival in Austria this June.
That's right. Winners will get tickets to the festival along with ride passes, 3 nights half-board accommodation, so you get your breakfast and dinner. Plus, we will also transport your bikes to and from the event.
Yeah, and Dan will buy you a pint.
No, that's not part of it.
But is it not?
No.
You can't just throw that in.
Well, as long as it's matched in return with a pint bought from me and like a round.
Dan will buy you a round if you reciprocate. And be warned, that'll be an expensive one. Right, 5 runners-up will also get Global Bike Festival tickets, including ride passes. So this giveaway is open to residents of the UK, the EU, USA, and Canada. Canadians, if you think you're hard enough to come over, because it will be quite mild temperatures, won't it?
It will be, yes.
Possibly in the 20s, and hopefully dry.
Yeah, you might overheat.
That's right. Anyway, you've got until the 24th of February to enter, okay? All you need to do is answer a very simple question, the answer to which you can find on Bing.
Yes, or Google if you are particularly old school.
Ooh, shots fired.
We wish you all good luck.
Oh yeah, now one thing that we didn't mention at the top of the show of things that have changed that we wouldn't want to bring back is indoor training when you're riding your bike indoors with nothing but a wall to look at.
Oh, I remember it well.
And on a choppy indoor trainer as well.
Oh, they were terrible. The inertia.
Oh,
it was awful, wasn't it? It was
inertia.
basically like you had a flywheel the size of a hamster wheel. Things, thankfully, have progressed a long, long way in that particular area of indoor training and riding. So far, in fact, that we've now got a UCI World Championships for people on indoor trainers, otherwise known as Esports World Championships. The third edition of the UCI Esports World Championships is this coming Saturday.
Yeah, now it is a brand new format where rather than deciding the winner in one single race, we'll see competitors gradually eliminated over 3 successive rounds. Now, many of you, I hope, will have seen our GCN presenter race on Zwift that used the same format and course in Glasgow. I've got to say, I was genuinely a little bit sceptical when I heard about the new format, but now having experienced it and also actually then watched it on the video, I'm completely convinced.
Yeah, I'm convinced as well. There's going to be a lot of action in a very short period of time, isn't it? And I can also tell you that there's going to be very little room for recovery between each of those rounds.
Really?
So around 10 to 12 minutes, I think, if you get through to the next round, because there will be the eliminations that Si talked about. Anyway, we are going to have live coverage of all of the racing in action this coming Saturday evening from 1800 GMT. So do the maths wherever you are.
Yeah, and it will be available on both GCN Plus and also free to view on GCN Racing's YouTube channel as well. Dan, you're going to be joined by Hannah Walker and Nathan Guerra, aren't you, as well? Nathan Guerra, who we raced on Zwift many, many years ago.
He's been in it from the beginning, hasn't he?
He has indeed, yeah. And Manon is also, she's in like a special live arena, isn't she?
An auditorium kind of thing up in Glasgow, yes, where 5 male and 5 female competitors will be taking part in the Esports World Championship. So she'll be getting all the inside gossip and interviews up there. So make sure you join us on Saturday evening if you can.
Have you thought about what would happen if those 5 riders got eliminated in the first round?
Well, there's plenty of people with free time to interview then, isn't there?
That's a good point. Imagine the heartache. You'd be like, so you've just been eliminated in the first race. How are you feeling? Pretty rubbish, actually.
We may all of a sudden have 10 extra commentators and pundits on hand to give their opinion.
All slightly grumpy ones. It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section down below, and we will pick out a winner next week, won't we?
We will do indeed. Meanwhile, though, last week's photo was this picture of a load of Bahrain victorious legs at a recent race. The winner of the Caption Competition this week is Matthew Rose, who put Lander learns laundry lesson but stays out of hot water with UCI.
That is gold, isn't it?
It's a very good caption, yes. Well done, Matthew.
Absolute gold, Matthew. Yes, well done. I like that. I mean, that did look like it was just a good one to caption full stop. But
it was, wasn't it? Anyway, get in touch with us with a Facebook message, Matthew, and your address, and we'll get a bottle sent out to you. Crikey, that was aggressive. Meanwhile,
it was a gentle throw.
Was it? This
week's
week's photo is this one of Max Cantor and one of the staff members of Team Movistar, I believe, at the Tour of Oman. This week, Si's going to get you started. He's been honing this for the last hour and a half or so.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't had enough time to really nail it, but something along the lines of Team Movistar, clearly not very good at pats on the back.
Very good, Si.
Thanks. Like I say, with a bit more time, I reckon I could have really nailed it.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that is the thing. We don't have a whole week, do we?
No, we
to get
don't.
captions together like our audience does in the comment section.
That's
So
it.
do your best in the comment section down below, and we'll pick a winner next week.
Talking about positive affirmation, that kind of thing, teamwork.
Give me a hand. Anyway, a few ideas for you. A few comments now from last week's video. I picked out this first one side that was under last week's show from Kevin Farron, who said, Dan showing his professionalism as Sai melts down. Very impressive, he puts. Didn't miss a beat.
It was quite impressive, actually, Dan. I will admit. Yeah, what can I say? Apologies, everyone, for completely losing it last week. It was just as well Dan was here to keep things going. Otherwise, we would have had a GCN show, wouldn't we? Yeah, no, absolutely. So there we go. Also, user, this is a catchy one, IH8CW3CF1V. That's another one where I think they used their password accidentally as the username.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it seems like it, doesn't it? Anyway, the worst thing about being Canadian must be when you put all that gear on and then realise you've forgotten your heart rate strap.
There would be nothing more frustrating than that, would they?
I bet your heart rate monitor won't even get picked up on your head unit when you're wearing all that much stuff.
Probably. No, there's a bit of a barrier between, isn't there? Maybe that's what happened to Alex Stader. He had forgotten his heart rate strap, and that's why he was quite willing to take everything off and show us what he was wearing. Meanwhile, under Ride Uphill Faster, DL Butler put, the most impressive thing about this video is the continued conversation whilst pedalling up those hills. That, of course, was Ashley Mormon-Pasio, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes, I don't think there was much conversation coming from any other quarters. But yeah, it is funny that, isn't it? The longer you spend having been retired from a professional cyclist as a GCN presenter, the slower you have to go.
To be able to converse or present whilst riding.
We'll be on e-bikes soon.
It's all right if you're interviewing someone else, so you can just think of very short questions that require quite long answers.
That's right, yeah. Jeffrey Waymark said, I love the tortured sound of the camera bike motor when Ashley accelerated and they sped up to follow. That's impressive acceleration. That is an impressive acceleration, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, different level, pro cyclist. Meanwhile, from pro cyclist to Coffee King Girona Uncovered, Andrew McAllister wrote, GCN tries to kill Hank episode 14 by sending him to review coffee shops in Girona. Yeah, Hank and coffee are an interesting mix, aren't they?
Yeah, it was quite a fast end to that video, wasn't it? Clearly quite a lot of caffeine had been ingested. And then Matt Wake, under the Radical Cheap Band, did the UCI Ruin Road Bikes Forever that we talked about earlier on. Ollie's mission to bring English slang to a wider audience is gathering momentum. What's his chops? So yes, for those of you that don't know what what's his chops means, it's
somebody whose name you've forgotten.
Exactly, yeah. Old what's his chops, Lloydie.
Carlos Parada finally said that I feel that now that everyone has talked about Ollie's amazing track stand skills, he's going to do it on every single video. You're not wrong there.
It is true, yeah. Is it still cool if you do track stands because you can't clip in? I guess it still is, isn't it?
It probably is, because most people are going to be unaware of why you're doing it, I guess, unless we keep pointing it out weekly on the GCN show. Right, coming up on the channel this week, we will start off with Wednesday, which is tomorrow if you're watching the show as it comes out, where we've got how to avoid a sore bum. Something we've not done for quite a long time.
A sore bum when cycling, we should say, shouldn't we? That's our expertise there, not any other types.
No.
Yes, mistakes we've all made on Thursday, such as getting a sore bum when cycling, I would imagine.
Improved power to weight ratio on Friday.
Oh, I'm excited about that one. That's a good one as well.
Yeah, something you can maybe use in your next Zwift competition.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
I'll tell you how you can improve your power to weight on Zwift.
We all know your techniques, Dan. Right, then Saturday, it's the last of Hank's Girona Uncovered series. This time he's getting a guided tour from an adopted local of the delights of Girona town, which is pretty cool. And then on Sunday, Anatomy of a Climber. So Conor met up with Andrew Feather, the world's #1 ranked climber on Strava, to find out why he's good, basically. So definitely tune into that one. That's very interesting indeed.
Meanwhile, on GCN Plus, I've actually had to write down all of the races because I can't remember them all. There's so many coming up for you this week. I'll give it a go now, even though it's just here. We've got the Tour of Oman highlights, which continue through to tomorrow. Wednesday, I think, is the final stage. I'm already going to have to look at it.
I was going to say, yeah.
We've got the Vuelta al Algarve and Vuelta Andalusia, both run from Wednesday through to Sunday. The Tour des Alpes Maritime du Var runs from Friday through to Sunday. Those three races are all available in every GCN Plus territory.
Including New Zealand?
Yes, worldwide.
Hey! You better watch it, Kiwis.
Yes, we've got more cyclocross this weekend, believe it or not, with the X2O and Exact Cross Series, and the aforementioned Esports World Championships on Saturday evening. Also, that one available worldwide. So make sure you watch it if you can.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, we obviously showed you that clip of Conor in the Philippines of Marcel Kittel. It feels a little bit like with Marcel Kittel, he's cheating on his long-time friend and fellow bikepacker Larry Warbass. The GCN Plus documentary coming out, well, out now in fact, is Conor bikepacking with Larry Warbass. Slow Pro Tour. So last time, there was a little bit of friction, wasn't there, as Larry had to spend long days in the saddle waiting for Conor and then being forced to sleep on beaches. So anyway.
This series may come to an abrupt end.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, check that one out because it's absolutely great. They went to Crete this time, which not somewhere I'd ever really thought about as a cycling destination, but it looked amazing.
Did it?
Yeah, really, really good.
Let's check that out.
Yeah.
Right, that's it for this week's GCN Show. We will, of course, be back at the same time in the same place next week.
We will.